Well, good morning. It's Saturday the 30th of November and I've driven over to Millennium Motorcycles in St. Helens to get a test drive on the new Suzuki GSX-S1000GX. So thank you very much Millennium Motorcycles here in St. Helens for allowing me to test ride this bike. It's been a long time since I've been in St. Helens. I used to live here many years ago. Many years ago. Well, straight off the bat, I should let you know that I have already got the Suzuki GSX-S1000GT. I've had that bike for 3 years, and the whole purpose of me testing this GX was that one of my mates has recently bought one, and he suggests I give it a try. I've not fiddled with any of the settings, so it's exactly as it came out of the shop. So it's in B mode. Well, generally on the GT I ride around in B mode myself. Just close that lid. What else can I tell you? Well, the dashboard looks exactly the same as the GT, so I am familiar with that. See the air temperature as well. Air temperature is reading 15 degrees Celsius, so exactly like the GT, it tends to overread. It's about 10 or 11 degrees Celsius this morning. The roads are covered in a layer of water. And I can't recall it raining overnight. So I don't know why the roads are covered in water. I probably should have gone to the left there. Anyway. Well, there was an awful pull-off. Yeah, the riding position is completely different to the GT. Straight off the bat, I feel a lot more top-heavy and shaky, even just on those little roads where I came out of the dealership. I wouldn't say nervous, it just felt very like shaky. The GT feels a lot more solid. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm so high up on this bike, but the riding position isn't much different. I saw some rider triangles, and I think there's only about 58 millimeters, so just over 2 inches. The difference in the height of the bars. Yeah, it just feels very loose. I don't know how to describe it. So what I intend to do on this test ride, I've got it for an hour, is I intend to take it down one of our motorways here, the M62. I'll just do one junction on the M62, and the reason why I want to do that is because when I'm touring on a bike, wherever we go, we tend to do many motorway miles in order to get to our destination. And once we're at the destination, that's when we tend to ride around a bit. I know what it is. The steering is a lot more loose than the GT, so when I go into steer it almost wants to just flop to whichever way I'm steering. I think that's what it is, and I'm just not used to it. I'm sure it won't take me long to get used to it. And yeah, welcome to England. This is what our roads look like. We've got roadworks here. must just mention that I am 5'9.5". Don't forget the half. I've also got an exceptionally short leg, so 29-inch inseam, and I feel comfortable on this GX. You know, I am used to riding bikes on tiptoes, and that I have ridden an Africa Twin in the past, but this one here, I'm on my toes. You know, I haven't got my feet flat, so I'm probably down on just like on the balls of my feet, as they say. Let's see if we can sneak past a car or two. Oh, probably not. I haven't tried the brakes yet. The mirrors on this bike are very different to the mirrors on the GT. The GT, the mirrors start right on the front fairing, and it's odd how people complained about that when that GT first came out, but I actually preferred it. It reminded me of one of my old bikes. I had was it a VFR that was very similar? Let's get past some of these cars. Yeah, I prefer the mirrors now being further forward. I'm just not used to them being right here on the bars. I have seen several videos online of people complaining about these mirrors, saying that they vibrate at speed, and they are. I don't know why they're so loose like that. I don't know if it's the mirror that's loose or just like the whole handlebar. So yeah, something about the GT that actually annoyed me was the high frequency vibes through the handlebars. And this is what I'm going to test now. I'm going to test for two things: the wind buffeting, number one, because for me that's a deal breaker. If the bike suffers with wind buffeting of any kind, I'll just walk away. And then the second thing is the high frequency vibrations. Now I know I was watching Missenden Flyer, and that's all he was going on about in his video test of the GX. He just went on and on and on about this high frequency vibrations. So yeah, we'll see what it's like. We do have the cruise control on this bike. Like the GT, everything is very similar. It's just the riding position that's different. Oh, they haven't got the heated grips on the demonstrator. Which is surprising, because normally they load the demonstrator bikes with absolutely all the options. I'm just going to take it easy. You can see how wet the roads are. You can see the glint from the sunshine off the roads. So just close my visor now. We're at speed. Wow, yeah, I can see what they mean about the mirrors. Yeah, they are vibrating really, really badly. Didn't really feel the vibrations from the wind buffeting, so that seems good, but I can certainly feel vibrations through the whole bike from the engine. The mirrors are rattling away like mad. Like the GT, it's got the same engine, so it's got plenty of power, more than enough power. So I'm not too worried about the power. But yeah, those mirrors, that's shocking. I can feel the wind rushing over my head, but there's no major wind turbulence. And I was getting a little bit quick there, just to check. I'll be doing the same on the motorway. Just checking what it's like at speed. It's odd that this bike vibrates so much. my GT doesn't vibrate half as much as this thing. Tell you what, just looking at the cars behind me on the motorway, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's just a blur. Blur. Have my lights on as well. There's a slight bit of wind buffeting I can feel. It's just on the top of my helmet, so it's not too distracting from the ride. The vibrations, yeah, this has got what's that? The bike just flashed its emergency hazard, so I don't know why. My GT, I have fitted it with a different visor. There's loads of crud on this road, so I imagine that the camera is getting all crudded up. Good services. So that's all I really wanted to do, was just take it for one junction down the motorway. I'll go back again the same way now. Just one junction on the motorway. You know, I really wanted to like this bike, but those mirrors, man, that's just crazy in this day and age. They vibrate so much, and that must mean that the bars are vibrating, so you can imagine maybe after a few hours of that the vibrations would just get rather annoying. So I'm back on the motorway on the N62, heading back to Liverpool. I just did a quick turn there at the Mega Business Park. Just checking the wind buffeting there, if it gets any better or worse. Oh, that seems to be a lot worse. If I duck down, that wind buffeting is a lot worse. Pick my head up, I'm okay, but down low, that's worse. What are those hazard warning lights keep coming up? Typical British taxi. Don't look, just pull out. Anyway, so back to the bike. Yeah, these vibrations, I can feel them through the foot pegs, I can feel them through the tank. Can't really feel them through the handlebars, but you know, you'd need a long ride tell whether the vibrations actually damage your hands. grabbing and releasing the bars. I can feel vibration, but when I'm holding on with both hands, I can't really feel it that much. Within a few minutes. This is going to sound a bit odd. I was really wanting to like this bike. But I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be suitable for me for touring. The riding position is great on this particular GX. The riding position is great, but mirrors, the vibrating, I'm actually wondering if a better bet for me would be to retain my GT and just fit bar risers. I'm sure you can tell in my voice I'm quite disappointed. I was so keen to ride this bike and think that it would be my answer to everything. I understand that it's got all the latest electronic whiz bang whatever you need. Electronic suspension or semi-active suspension it's got, but yeah, I don't know if it's going to be suitable for me as a tourer. The thing is, once we get to our destinations, you know, then it's nice to have a flickable bike. Well, I'm talking now specifically about going on tour. When you go on tour, you know, getting there is a pain. So it's a real schlep having to spend 2 days on motorways doing constant 70 miles per hour. Okay, right, those brakes, yeah, quite a bit of dive from the front there, which again I'm not used to. The GT doesn't dive as much, but the brakes on the GT are horrendous. So yeah, I was expecting the brakes to be a bit naff, but brakes aren't as bad as the GT. It's just you've got a bit more dive, probably because of the suspension travel, the additional suspension travel. Alright, so I've got the bike booked for an hour. I took it at 11:40. It's now 12:14. So I've had it 30 minutes already. Wow, okay. Yeah, that's another thing. I'll add to the story in a bit about one of my mates who buys bikes, and he's a bit miffed with all these YouTube influencers that seem to get these bike rides. So what I'll do is I'll get around all this traffic. I'm going to head over to the Rainford bypass. So I'll do the little back roads that myself and my mate Andrew used to do all the time. We used to head over to Scotch Piper. So I'll do that, and then I'll catch you on the other side. See you in a bit. Unfortunately for me today, I haven't found pure bliss in this bike. Yeah, just the vibrations, the mirrors. It feels very nervous, this bike, or loose, or whatever you want to call it. Even soggy. I know it's got electronic suspension. I can see that it's on auto. I've not adjusted any of that. I could probably make it harder. I am quite a fat git, so I do tend to jack up my suspension on my bikes. I'm not light. I'm nowhere near the weight of a Japanese test rider. So and also with the electronic suspension, for me, once I've set the suspension on my normal regular bike, or should I say bike with regular suspension, generally I don't ever change it nowadays. So electronic suspension doesn't really mean much to me, but the touring ability or capability of the bike, that's far more important. One thing that I've noticed on this bike, and it's odd because it's got the same engine, the same gearbox, the quick shifter doesn't seem as good as the GT. The GT, that quick shifter, oh man, it is like the greatest quick shifter I've ever used. It's phenomenal. This one seems a bit odd, and I don't know if it's because the gear lever is not set to my foot. Normally I set the gear lever up quite high. I've got quite a thick foot. Yeah, one other thing I noticed, as I was riding through St. Helens there and I was coming up to the traffic lights and stopping, Missenden Flyer mentioned this, and I didn't notice it until now, partway through the test ride, is it does feel like the seat is pushing you forward. It's a strange sensation, but I know Missenden Flyer was making such a big thing about it, and I only mentioned Missenden Flyer because it's fresh in my mind. But yeah, I can feel that the seat, pushing me forwards into the tank. It's just a bit of a strange one. It's not bad. The way that Missenden Flyer described it, I thought it was going to be really, really bad, but it's not too bad. But I can feel it. It is there. I just maybe it's the height of the bike. I'm still weirded out by the way that it turns, and it just doesn't feel right. And yeah, I know I'm probably being a bit biased here, having ridden the GT for 3 years. People on the internet, when I have asked them about the GX, and I say to them, look, I've got the GT, I'm interested in the GX, what do you think? And most of them have said just stick with the GT. And do you know what, I think they're right. If I'd never ridden the GT before, I think this would have been an okay bike. I probably could have sorted something with the mirrors, but I'm comfortable on the GT. I'd say the only thing I'd probably do is raise the bars and maybe get some additional weights for the bar ends, because I do get the white finger syndrome on the GT. I think you'd need at least 2 hours or so in the saddle on this bike going at constant speed to see if you'd suffer from that white finger syndrome. Well, I've just noticed a load of mud on the road. That's shocking, really shocking. Yeah, it's a pity that this road is so busy. This is a nice little road to test your bike. Back in the old days, myself and Andy used to whiz along here to Scotch Piper, all these little back roads. Fantastic. Oh, you're braking. Why is that car braking? Should have turned there, but hey, tell you what we'll do is we'll tell you what I'll do is I shall just turn around. See, it's already 12:30. I've got to get this bike back at 12:40, so let's go. The amount of crud on this road here as well. I know they've got farmers' fields around here. I don't know what they're growing. Probably like Brussels sprouts, and there are some other things, cabbages. And it looks like it's just started raining. Yeah, well, but this is what it's like. This is exactly how it is on tour. When you're thousands of miles away from home and the heavens would open. So this is quite a relevant test ride. I've tested in really poor conditions, with wet roads, etc., with a bit of rain coming down now, with crap on the road. But that's how it is on tour. You just can't allow for all these things. Tell you what, this road brings back so many happy memories here. Myself and Ant whizzing along this road with all different kinds of bikes. I've had Kawasaki ZX-10R Fireblades, that K2 Gixxer, that 2015 Suzuki GSX-S1000. Had that down here. Many great memories with Ant on the bike. in St. Helens. Not forgotten you, Dave, not forgotten you, so yeah, don't be crying now. Oh dear. I should also just mention that this test ride, I've been doing it with the cases, with the panniers, which is I think it's a more fair representation of how this bike would handle and move. Because I may have mentioned it several times before, but that's how I ride my bikes. Most of my riding is done over on the continent. I generally don't tend to ride in England that much anymore. Okay, goes out here. So yeah, that's it. Well, I'll probably end it here now. I'm just going to head back exactly the same way. No additional thoughts from me. Maybe just the conclusion to wrap it up. The conclusion is that I don't think the GX is the bike for me. I was so amped and pumped up for this test ride. I thought I was going to love this bike, and within the first few minutes I just thought, nah, it's not for me. So, and I think when you feel like that with a bike, it's never going to change. You know, with a bike, you're not making a purchase with your head. With a bike, it's all emotional, how it makes you feel. So, yeah, for me, this bike just isn't giving me the right vibes. It's certainly giving me vibrations, but yeah, not good vibrations. Yeah, it vibrates far too much. It's got more wind buffeting than the GT. The mirrors are shockingly bad. I can feel that seat pressing me forward. It feels okay. The riding position is good and upright, but I can get that with my GT if I just get some bar raises. And what else did we discuss here? I know I spoke about the dive, but that's I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll just sneak down here. Yeah, the dive from the forks, that's I think it's because of the long suspension travel. Quick shifter, well, the bike's only got 1,400 miles, so things probably haven't worn in yet, so we'll make an excuse for that. Oh, there's a car coming as I was about to pull out. Saw him at the last minute, thankfully. Dude, these foot pegs keep catching my legs. I'm racking my brains trying to think of the route back. Probably just go the same way that I came. I know I could go around the houses here. Oh yeah, well that was disappointing. Yeah, I was so looking forward to this. I really thought this was going to be the bike for me. But it happens like that sometimes. You know, it's one thing watching other people on YouTube riding the bike, and then yeah, it's completely different when you get on the bike and go for a ride. But hey ho, at least we've given it a try. I'll just let the cameras run now. The point is me trying to start and stop and a lot of faffing around. So we'll just have a look at the delightful sights of St. Helens. I think there was a rugby club at the top corner. There's been a load of developments here, new housing developments in St. Helens. Up at Sutton Heath, I noticed it used to be a truck depot of sorts. I think it was called Sutton's. That's all been changed to a new housing estate. just the changes have been phenomenal in this country. You know, I've only lived here for 20 years, but in that 20-year period, you know, the change has been quite drastic when it comes to housing estates. Here, there's that rugby club, West Park Rugby Club. I think it's 40 miles per hour down the street. I think. There's a speed sign. No, it's actually 30. Okay. Yeah, there's a lovely park down here as well. Park Golf Club. Sneak in there. Guess not. Taylor Park. Should go to that Taylor Park, take the kids with their bicycles. Good days out. So I hope you've all enjoyed that that ride with me. Sorry it wasn't positive. Although I shouldn't have to excuse myself for a non-positive bike test experience. You know, it's my money I'm going to be spending, and yeah, I don't think I'll gel with this bike. I think there's too many negatives. You know, there are some pros, the seating position, you know, with the legs, etc., and reach to the bars. It's less of a reach to the bars, but on the whole, yeah, this bike isn't for me. Right, so here we will duck back into Millennium Motorcycles. So once again, thank you very much, Millennium Motorcycles. Thank you, Johnny, for arranging that test ride. I did speak to Kevin on the phone, so if you're looking to buy yourself a new bike, get yourself over to Millennium Motorcycles in St. Helens. Speak to Kevin, or if you want any parts and servicing, speak to Johnny, and I'm sure they'll set you up. So thanks very much for coming on this ride with me. Take care, and until next time, ciao for now.